In today's podcast, we examine capacity over incapacity, triumph over tribulation, one highly sorted after with the knowledge of wealth creation. Meet Ugochukwu Omegu. Ugochukwu Omegu is a workplace attitude and peak performance expert, a business mentor and an investment specialist, a career and life coach and investment knowledge specialist. He's the Chief Visionary Officer of MERIGNOS Consulting and Mentoring Limited. Ugochukwu Omegu's mentoring and coaching experience and skills were developed at JP Morgan Chase Bank in the USA, where he was the lead facilitator in the performance management review team. He is trained for JP Morgan Chase Bank USA, American Embassy, Angel Foundation USA, Zenith Bank, Fidelity Bank, EcoBank, Polaris Bank, among others. His expertise in innovative business building was invaluable in creating the private banking of one of the leading banks in Nigeria. He runs private mentoring programs for businesses and corporate executives of Fortune 500 companies.
Hi, welcome to Mindset and Milestone with a Tekamba. I hope you're having fun so far. We've had a couple of episodes. If you've not subscribed, please, I will encourage you to go and click the subscribe button. It's been mind-blowing. We've had amazing guests so far. And trust me, this platform is so that you have to just always be in touch, be at alert. In our midst today, we have someone that I'm sure we've heard the introduction, someone that turned his ability to ability, thereby even making all of us to feel like, okay, I think we'd have developed more in our minds. It's like someone I would see as the Xavier of X-Men, a brilliant gentleman. In our midst, we have Ugochukwu Omeogu. Mr. Ugo.
Yes.
I didn't want to be so serious. I know that whenever someone is in your class, you have to be very attentive. I heard you walk out people from your class at times.
Well, technically, no. They work themselves out.
Why?
When the laws are established and the rules and etiquettes of the class is established, and someone violates it, and you read those laws back to them, they naturally, out of their own volition, work themselves out. So I'm not that rude.
So you don't see yourself as a rude teacher?
No, I think I am very direct in my context and also very precise in my concept. So there's barely any gray area in terms of what things are. And so when things are defined, it's easy to have straightforward activities involved in what to do.
Okay, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
So tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a creative force. I am someone who believes that the universe is made for me, and everything that's been put in place was because I'm coming. And of course, I hail from Nigeria, from Imo State, and has a degree, masters in different areas of life. I try not to box myself in any particular context, but I'm pretty much a philosopher in my rights, and as well run businesses in consulting, have some assets here and there. But more importantly, in the marketplace, a business consultant, life coach, and then a mentor for so many people who wants to build wealth through the right processes.
Beautiful. I can remember going through one of your articles, and you talked about, it was very emotional for me, and you were talking about how you started your life from the cradle. And there's this picture, I still have that picture in my mind of you standing with your two legs,
Right.
but as a baby. Then beside that one was a picture of someone that couldn't stand without the aid of an object. And I was curious, how did he get from here to here? And you made a lot of quotes in that article, and the emotional part was how knowledge began for you. How you used to see your brothers and your family members go to school, and you were stuck there looking out to see the day you would join them until one man came. Can you give me a background story? Because I mean, I can't say it like someone that has a story. Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting part of my life where, as a child who had not committed any crime or had anything against him, just came to life innocently. So yeah, growing up was interesting. 1 year, 6 months after I was born, I had polio. Okay, and that polio necessarily is an illness that weakens your muscle because your nerves were not properly, at some point, stopped growing. So the flow of blood and nutrients to that area is not, steady. So that lack of growth affects the development of the muscles that you have. By extension, affects your ability to walk and, very well. So that is where I think the challenge started for me. Okay. And then the instance you're talking about where when my father got back to the village and then we all followed him. He took all of us back. And every morning my younger brothers go to school. I could not because the school was very far from my house. Okay, so at some point I felt bad, if I'm the one not home. So one day as a little child, very mischievous, I had to put their school uniform inside the water so that nobody goes to school at the same time. So the thing is, when I put the school uniforms of my younger ones in the water and so that they wouldn't go to school because I wanted to feel like we're together, I still did not go to school. So the desire that I have was going to school, but I tried to approach it from a different way, which is not very good. Because when I did that, I still was not feeling good because what I wanted was to go to school. So, and I always say, stopping other people from moving forward does not make you move forward. Okay, that's the lessons I learned from that. Okay, so an incident happened. After that event, of course, I think I get some lashes from my mom and then I learned my lessons. So anytime they dress up to go to school right now, I dress up myself and follow them. Just wake up in the morning like as if I'm going to school, do the breakfast with them, get all dressed and then walk with them. But when I get to the gate of my house, that's where my own will stop. So I will stay there and I'll wait for them to come back to school, maybe around 2 p.m. Then I will join them back into the compound. The interesting thing is each time I walk with them to the gate, I don't come back into the house until 2 p.m. So, but what I was doing then was I'll put I put sands on my leg and build castles and play games. Now, incidentally, I didn't know a particular person was observant because it was happening every day. So one day, this gentleman stopped by and said, "This young man, what are you doing out here by yourself? Every time I'm going through your house, I'm seeing you sitting down here with all dressed up in school uniform and you're not going to school." So I pointed to him that I wanted to go to school. I started crying. Then he said, "If your dad is at home," I said, "Yes." So he walked into my house, talked to my dad, and my dad said, "Of course, you can take him to school." So that was the day, my life changed again. That's one of the moments in my life. So what I found from that is whenever you are at the gate of your destiny, a helper will come. Now, but you have to be dressed for it. You have to reach out for it. So if I was complaining about my life and then sucking it in and staying in the house, I'll probably cry all my heart out, but not have anyone help me. So my going out to that particular gate, I see the gate as an intercession for help. A gate is wherever you do that makes you become easily helped. That's what I see the gate as. So that was how I started going to school. And then after that, everybody joined. Sometimes some people would carry me on the back, because the man was not always there all the time. So, but this time, people,
the whole community
came around, and then sometimes some people will carry me on the back. This person will carry me to a particular distance, and that person will pick it up from there. That is how I started going to school. But
the people that used to help then, do you still get in touch with them if some of them are still alive today?
Yeah. Most of my friends. As a matter of fact, my disability made my sensibilities to expand. My mind started working more creatively because I need to make up for something. So most of my friends, their brain became more active in relating with me. Each time a particular part of your body is not functioning, the other part of the body make up for it. So if you take a blind man right now and close his eyes, he hears better. He can recognize patterns by sounds because the brain will always compensate for what you lose. So most of my friends benefited from my disability because of my innovative thinking. All right, so, and I said this, disabilities drives creative thinking, right?
Yeah.
And the drive to innovate comes from most of the times from disabilities, if you like to think.
Yeah.
But if you don't like to think, disability becomes an excuse for you. You know what I mean? Yeah, so most of my friends actually, I'm a challenge to all of them.
Wow.
Because each time we are together, I like to contribute.
Areas,
Contribute. I always want to add something. I'll give an example. When I was in secondary school, one of my uncles, my guardian, took me to this school, which is a dormitory. And as we got into the school, we passed different hostels, St. Augustine, St. Maria Sumter, St. John Bosco. There was this in Holy Ghost College, Owerri. And I see young children like me playing football, volleyball, running around. So my uncle took me to a particular hostel. And when we're getting close to this hostel, we saw people with blindness, cripples, deaf and dumb, all moving with their eyes, some of them, their eyes closed, with sticks. So I looked at my uncle, I'm like, is that how you see me? Like, no offenses to these people.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I can't stay in this hostel. So I had to leave my uncle there and then move back to the places where I saw life, people playing football and all of that. Now, what happened was when I moved to these particular hostels where people are active without any physical disability, it posed a challenge for me because where the bathrooms are different from where the hostels are.
Yeah.
So which means every morning, 5 a.m., 5:30, 6 a.m., when we're about to bath, we have to carry the bucket to that place. And then that's a challenge.
Yeah.
So my hostel mates will have to now help me take my bucket of water to that place. So, but what happened along this process was anytime we have meeting or morning devotion and there's a subject we're discussing, each time I want to say something, they always shut me down. Like, after all, they were the one helping me. I'm like, in my mind as a little child, I don't know how that relates to me not being able to say my mind.
Yeah.
But in the bigger scheme of life, they felt that I owe them. You know what I mean? Because they did me a favor, I am now indebted. You know what I found out? Anytime someone gives you value that you did not give a corresponding value back, you are indebted, whether or not you initiated the process or not. If somebody gives you something and you receive it as value, and you don't have anything corresponding to that value to give back, you're already indebted, right? So I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. So that because you guys take my bucket of water to the bathroom, I now have to take whatever you guys say. I can't say anything.
Yeah.
So you know what I did? Anytime we come back from holidays, we come back with provisions, milk, biscuits, sugar, all of those kind of things. So I'll keep mine. I won't eat them that much. So anytime anyone comes and takes my bucket of water to the bathroom, I will give you extra something, biscuit, sugar, milk. So somehow the news spread that each time you take Ugochukwu's bucket of water to the bathroom, you get something else.
Gift, yeah.
So every morning, about 6-10 people are struggling to take my bucket to the bathroom again. You know what I mean? So in other words, it's value that commands relationship. It's value that determines how people respect you. But I didn't have to use my situation as an excuse. I have to find a way to make up for that which I lack in the relationship that I have. And I give you another example. If we are sitting in this room right now, and I know that we're going to walk out of here, and when I get to the door, you're going to open the door for me, which means without me doing anything for you, you're going to do something for me at the door. Now, because of what happened in my childhood, when I saw that, anytime anyone does anything for you of value, you are automatically indebted, whether or not you ask for it or not. As far as you receive that value, you are indebted. Because one of the laws of wealth that I know is the laws of exchange. Value must always return to the source of value. So now that I know this, anytime I walk into any place, knowing that somewhere along this conversation or this relationship, I'm going to need you to open the door for me when I'm about to leave, I would now find a way to give you value here before the need for you to give me value back. So I can, if I find that maybe you're thirsty, you're hungry, I'm going to offer you maybe an apple or water right now. Somehow with this same law, you feel indebted to me. So when I get to that door, you will gladly, as a matter of reciprocity, open that door without you feeling that you've done me extra favor. Okay, so these are some of the things that life, taught me growing up in my background of how that this life is balanced, no matter whether you are disadvantaged or not. As far as you have knowledge on how this life functions, you can make up for anything life did not give you at birth.
Wow, this is it shows that we have a whole lot we're going to talk about, and big thanks to people that have really been there for you all the way, because there are many people that doesn't have certain level of ability. I'm picking words now that feel depressed because of how they were treated. I'm sure you are just one out of, maybe you are in the league of Kobam Zasukwo,
Right.
leagues of Steve Wonder, people that have taken advantage, Ray Charles, people that fought against all odds, and the celebrities that we have today. And you can't call them, in fact, you seeing them, you feel like they are the one without the ability, because they've taken advantage of what God has given them, but it's not the regular way.
Right.
And so I celebrate you. And like I said, you're in that league. I celebrate you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so
But just to put some perspective,
Yeah.
I was in a program I was teaching, and the medical doctor asked me a question, the same thing you're trying to allude to me, like being a great person.
Yeah.
The doctor asked me, so how are you able to stay inspired in spite of your challenges, in spite of your disabilities?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I asked the doctor, how do you think I am disabled? What does disability mean? And he looked at me and said, you're a medical doctor? I said, yes. I said, if I lose my hand, does that mean I am disabled when I am not a hand? Hand is one of the accessories I have.
Yeah.
So I lose my leg. Am I now disabled as a person? No, I lost my leg. I'm still a human being. I'm not a leg. So you can't call a full person a disabled person when his brain is still functioning, when he can make up in other adaptive ways. So I said to him, if someone has not lost any of his accessories, the legs and the hands, and is not able to think through life and be able to create something out of himself, is he not disabled? So what does disability actually mean in the context? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, I said, if you use your brain, life will be soft for you. If you use your muscles, life will be hard for you. And what that simply means, I'm trying to put context to it.
Yeah.
And you don't see with your eyes. You don't hear with your ears. You don't perceive with your nose. You don't taste with your mouth. All of those things are data collectors. You see, hear, and perceive and taste with your brain. The actual thing that works for all these data collectors is your brain. So when someone's brain is functioning, if his leg is not, he's still not disabled.
Wow. This is so. That's why I said at the beginning I was dealing with XVR here, and I have so much to ask, because in this podcast we get as real as possible, because they are just everyday questions people ask, and you are into wealth revolution. But before then, in one of your write-ups, you talked about mentorship, how you went to the US, and that was another phase of your life that changed the whole you. The other one, going to school, was a pathway, but when you went to the US, you met a certain man, and that man changed your life. Can you give us insight into
Okay,
that?
yes, it's Charlie LaFontaine. So when I got to the US, and people in the US, the people that were there in their good intentions, said to me that I couldn't get a very nice job because physically I'm disabled. So to their mind, there's a certain level of function that I could not do, especially in the context of the US, right? So when I got there, the first place I started going to was the library. So I was always in the library, reading and studying. And I also learned that the mind of a country is stored in the library, because that's where the document of the people who built the country. So going to the librarian was always talking to me. Any question I asked the librarian, he always gave me to what book to read to answer me in that context. And that made me come to realize that you teach the ignorance, you advise the wise. If you're ignorant on a subject, there's no advice that can help you. It's the subject knowledge that can help you to be able to use the advices that's given to you, okay? So in that place, I remember one of the days I was in my sister's house, and they work. That's what's called TWC, Texas Workforce Commission.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they were like the people who had helped you to set up a business. If you want to get a job, they help you to get a job and all things like that. So they did some evaluation on me, how long I can sit, how my physical evaluation to see how much I can sit, and then also to know what kind of job I can do. So one of the days, one of the forms I'm supposed to fill was a form for housing, like house to give me a place to stay. But I was staying with my sister at the time. So, and then there's also a form for welfare, to give you handouts, give you some food stamps and whatever it is. So as they dropped me off at my sister's house, I said to them that I didn't need any of those things because I didn't sign those forms. They asked me, why didn't I sign the form for welfare? I said to them, the mindset for welfare is not the mindset for wealth creation. Yes, in as much as this is a good gesture to me, but my mind is functional, so I can create whatever I want. And better still, I have a family member I can stay with. So why do I want to deplete the resource of the state when I can actually contribute to the state? So they were really, that particular statement, the person that brought me to the house was like, okay, well, people really, this is rare for people to reject such offers. That was why he asked me a question. So I started going to the library. And then in the library, they asked me to meet a particular consultant who is into career coaching. So I went to his office, I met with him. He told me that I can get any job I want in the US. I said, how do you mean? He said, well, are you a graduate? I said, yes. I said, you can get a job as a graduate in the United States, even though you didn't go to school, university in the United States. I said, but that's not what everybody told me. She said to me that for every philosophy, there is a policy, and for every policy, there is a rule. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He said, philosophies create policies, policies create rules. So what does that mean? He said to me that the philosophy in the US as a country is that when a person has attained 16 years of structured education, the person can perform certain functions in the workplace. So which means anywhere in the world, and your mind is exposed in particular courses with a particular number of hours for the next 16 years from primary, secondary, university, if you're able to go through that process, you can function in any capacity in the world. That's the philosophy. I said, okay, now what is the policy? The policy is that philosophy is put into structure. So that philosophy is now turned into 6 years of primary school, 6 years of secondary school, and minimum 4 years of university. That's the policy. But universally, anywhere in the world that any human mind is exposed to 16 years of consistent education through a particular process, that person can perform the same thing with anybody in the world. So I said, what does that mean to me? He said, if you can get your transcript and we can confirm officially that the courses you say you attended in accounting can be verified, that you actually sat down for particular credit hours and attended those accounting courses, that you use the same thing with anybody in the US. I'm saying, okay. So which means if a particular professional body can authenticate that I attended Imo State University degree and I finished with a particular distinction, that I can get employed in the US job market as though I attended a university here and I get paid the same. They said yes. So I met a company called ECE, Educational Credential Evaluators in Milwaukee. My school sent my transcript to this particular organization. They evaluated my transcript and came with a summary that says Mr. Ugochukwu Omegu has equivalence of US degree in accounting.
Wow.
And gave me 3 copies that is sealed. And when my mentor took me to the job training process and then take those particular evaluations and put it to my resume, and my resume said, Ndokiri Primary School Aba, Holy Ghost College Owerri, and Imo State University.
Wow.
That's what my resume said. So then he took that particular evaluations, attached to my resume, and then took me to job fair in Dallas. In that job fair, we had Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. These are top 500.
So Nigeria stuff could matter over there because it's always looking like anything from Africa does not really fit in.
Yes, but to get the concept is in the philosophy.
Yeah.
That if a human mind is exposed to a particular hours, a particular subject for a particular number of years. That process of education or exposure has qualified the person to perform certain roles. So based on that evaluation, and my mentor, Mr. LaFontaine, now took me to a job fair. And in that job fair, he said, I put your resume on any company you want, because he has knowledge that I have been certified, that my mind has gone through these credit hours, right? So he has confidence in my mind, even though I don't know what the society says, right? Now, he took my resume and then added extra alias to my name. He added Charles to my name. And I asked him why. He said, well, most Americans don't want to mess your name up. So if you say Ugochukwu Omeogu, they're probably not going to be able to mention it. So they added Charles and put in parentheses Charles. Now, he took me to job fair and he said to me, any of the companies you want, drop your resume there. And this is a little boy, barely 3 months old from Nigeria. You know, I didn't have confidence, but the 3 months of his coaching me and building me prepared me for what is ahead of me. He knew ahead of me what is coming. So in the job fair, he said to me, any of the companies you want, drop your resume there. And I want you to shake the hands of those HR people. And when you shake their hands, hold down hands to a point, it becomes ridiculous. Like, they probably think something is wrong with you. I'm like, are you serious? He said, yes. I said, okay. So I put my resumes on that companies that I wanted, for which JP Morgan was one of them. So I get there and I held the hand of the people and I said, hello, my name is Charles, and I'm excited about the opportunity to work with you guys. And I like what's going on here. The birds outside are chirping, it's sunny outside, just to keep on holding that. As I was holding them, I was sweating like I'm mad, right? So he said to me, so when I looked at him, because he goes to the back of the people. Yeah. When I looked at him, he said, keep holding the hands. So most of them will just take their hand up me. I'm like, well, this guy is crazy. He'll ask me to move to the next person. I can tell you the truth, Felix. It felt like let the ground open, let me just be swallowed, because I was feeling so terrible. So when we finished and left the interview, you know what he told me? I said, sir, why did you ask me to do that? He said, every other person that came for that interview were normal. You are the only abnormal person there. You know what's going to happen? When they leave, they said, did you see that young man? Something wrong with him. Yeah. And they're going to now dig through all the so many resumes, and they want to know what your own file is. And you always be the one they're going to talk about. Wow. And then they cannot deny you an opportunity, because there's what's called equal opportunity employer. They have to give you the chance. But meanwhile, now you're on the first list of the people they're probably going to look at. So what that meant was my advent with mentorship is that a mentor is someone who accelerate your results and reduce your mistakes. A mentor is someone who does not take away the process, but simply shows you the right steps. This guy literally changed my life. And then I left that interview. And then one day I got back home to my sisters, as of course living there. I always check the voice note, because I was expecting some calls. So one day I came in and I checked the voice note and I heard, hello, Mr. Charles, this is Kathy Wood from JP Morgan. And this just let you know, we got an interview for you tomorrow, Thursday. Please come in by 10 so we can actually, have an interview with you. So I saw that in around 9. Yeah. I went to bed 12 a.m. the night. I remembered my name was Charles. I didn't, because that was a nickname they gave to me.
Yeah, but it worked finally, yeah.
Yes. So actually, it was that particular moment that I knew there's no barrier to anywhere in the world. There's no visa restriction to ideologies, which means any part of the world you exist and you imbibe the right set of knowledge, you can transcend boundaries and locations and still create value in the world. And I give that credit to my mentor, who was able to shape my ideological framework about what is possible, even though it looks like I'm limited. Okay, so that is me experiencing mentorship on the highest level.
Wow, this is an opportunity that many people take for granted. People go out looking for big mentors, but anybody can be anybody's mentor, as long as the person is ready to go all the way. In this world, in the world we are today, mentorship means a lot of things for people. Right. And I'm happy you've given him credit, because some people never give their mentors credit. True. Some people never. Dangote will always tell you, or Dandata, that gave him a loan. But I'm sure Dandata has given a lot of money to people that we've not heard of. Maybe later, tomorrow, we'll start hearing. But I think what you said that touched me mostly is giving credit to our mentors.
Yes.
Because somebody is the one, from the people that carried you to school to the ones that he's helping in the US, always give credit to people that help you. You didn't get to where you are all by yourself. I know you claim that you're a self-made man, you're a self-made woman, but truly, a tree cannot make a forest. People came through for you. Someone helped you and you are where you are. Always give credit. It doesn't take so much from you, but at least you feel more fulfilled than just feeling like you got there by yourself. I think that's what I've learned from what you've said, because you wouldn't have gotten JP Morgan gig if
it wasn't for Charlie LaFontaine. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to share that kind of story.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be JP Morgan. It could just be getting a rise in an office.
Right.
It could be just getting someone to get a job somewhere.
Right.
It could be anything.
Right.
Always be there for one another, because the world today, you can't do it all by yourself. I mean, this is so much to talk about.
And to add to that, the guy was 65 years old when I met him. And I was in my late 20s. So 65? I was leveraging a 65-year wisdom in a 20 years experience. I was barely 3 months when I got into the US. And when I got my job with JP Morgan, the whole Dallas was like, how did this guy did this? I mean, he just came in here and I got a full staff status. Not contract, not temp agency. Wow. They have what's called temp agency. They can get you contract staff, contract employment, where you can just go and be filing and be sorting papers. I was a full staff of JP Morgan. And the key thing is
he still alive?
No, we've lost contact for some time now.
Please.
He's a great person.
I would like to have him on my show.
Yes. So I was using a 65-year wisdom in a 3-month journey. So what I was able to do in 3 months was as a result of a 65-year wisdom. And that's why I say mentorship accelerates your result and reduces your mistakes. What took you 5 years or 20 years to do, I can do it in 2 years. And that 2 years wasn't because I'm not following process. It's just that I'm going to avoid all of the unnecessary mistakes and get cut to the chase of what is important. Yeah, mentorship is valuable.
Wow, thank you so much. When we're back, we're still going to talk about wealth, which is major. We're going to talk about wealth. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about a lot. I mean, the show is Mindset and Milestone. So you're really in touch with what we do here.
Okay. Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you.
We'll be back. Wealth is something that in this part of the world, we don't really understand. And you don't blame us, colonial masters, our foundation, the environment we find ourselves. So different people in this country interpret wealth to mean different things. You are a wealth revolution. I'm trying to classify this is how you call yourself. I don't want to call it a mentor. Mm-hmm. How do I call
Master of wealth creation processes.
Yeah, master of wealth creation processes. Can you take us into this wealth revolution that you've been on? I've known you for 10 years.
Right.
And you're still going. Mm-hmm. You don't even look like you're slowing down.
No.
When I started with you, the grays were not here.
Right.
I didn't have mine too.
I don't know.
So over the past 10 years, what is your mission?
So, well, I hope to make sure that every home in Africa is wealth educated, is to put the wealth education in the home of every African person on the continent or anywhere in the world. I think that Africa is lagging behind in the context and the concept of wealth. Now, I say that education is personal while school is general. You can go to school and learn everything you can. Academics is about the external world. Education about is the internal world, okay? So wealth is much more than the physical material things people talk about. As a matter of fact, wealth is none of those things. Wealth is about the gift of God in your life. Wealth is about all the giftings that you have in your life, the ability to think, the virtues you have, all of those things that make you unique, make you a unique human being. Those things, those deposits are wealth. Now, wealth creation is the process of developing those virtues into commercial services and products for those who can afford it, and from the profit help those who can't. What that means is it's not enough to have all the virtues of God in your life. It's not enough to know that you have a brain. But what's important is what kind of education, what kind of learning are you having to help you develop these virtues that you have to the point it becomes service to humanity, right? But people think that wealth is money. No, money is actually a reward for creating value. And you can't create value unless you study and do research. So when there are people who have lots of money who are not wealthy, because the money they have did not come from service to humanity. The money they have did not come as a result of exchange of value to people. So when people talk about wealth, they think it's money. No. There are people who don't have lots of money, but they are very wealthy. In terms of the medical doctors who are not billionaires, but they're saving lives. There are engineers who are building roads and bridges, who are building cars and airplanes. There are artists who are painting stuff, developing good music. There are plumbers who are building one fantastic, system of water system in the house. There are so many people who are delivering value to humanity who are not billionaires, but by reason of those virtues, they are getting commensurate economic returns. These are wealthy people. But when we now use one metrics to measure wealth in terms of how much money you have, and then we discount the value from which it's supposed to be measured by, people steal. People cheat, people kidnap, people rob, because the metrics for measuring wealth in this context is wrong. So this is basically the context and the concept of wealth. Wealth is about virtue. Wealth is about the giftings of God in your life. Wealth is about the talent you have, but it's not enough. It must be developed to the point it becomes valuable to society, for which money can be made. And then you can say you are now a wealthy and rich person.
Okay, so we have a generation that these things you're talking about looks very alien to them. They will argue till tomorrow because they want to see the Ferraris. They want to see the Rolls Royce. They want to see live in the five-star buildings of this world. That's how it's measured. So the intangible is what you're bringing to our attention, that is wealth. But I don't know how you convince them, because tomorrow they will be on the street of X arguing with you. Recently, a wealthy I can call him a wealthy man, released a memo. And the memo didn't even last a day when some people on X got at him that he's a privileged person. Many people will end up not achieving their dreams because nobody is giving them access. Nobody is knowing somebody to help them. So what's your argument? Because they have many ideology going on right now as a result of that.
Okay, so my take on that is very quite simple. You are not born poor, you are born human. No one is born poor, you are born human. What does that mean? If Dangote is your father and he gave back to you, and at the age of 2 months or 1 year, I take you out of Dangote's house and take you to one man who lives in one man village, and this man is stinkingly poor, and put you in that house, and that poor man raises you and configures your psychology and your brain to think like life is against you. And I take that poor man's child and move him to Dangote's house. And Dangote raises that child, exposing him to his own empire and reconfiguring his brain to think like a wealthy person. Which one of these two do you think is going to be successful? Apparently, the child that Dangote raised, even though Dangote's blood does not run his vein. So you learn poverty, you learn wealth. There's studies have proven that most of the richest people in the world were the first generation of their wealth, which means they built those things first. In fact, if most times people build wealth on the first generation and it depletes to the second and the third because they didn't transfer the knowledge upon which they built those wealth to the next level. Yes, whatever the classifications people may have, what you want to go back is the fundamentals of life. Life has its own rules. It's not a respecter of a person. It's a respecter of progress. Life does not respect anyone. So I don't care who your father is. If you don't know what your father knows, you can't have what your father has. It is knowledge that is the primary precursor to preserve assets. No asset in the world preserves itself. I think that most people may have advantage based on their father, which means they had a head start, but no one has a privilege without knowledge. Now, you also know there's a particular institution in this country. The father started it well. This man started this institution well. And then there are so many CEOs that came alongside this man that started this. And each successive CEO did a great job, left that particular institution at a higher level, and then handed over to the next. But when that institution came to the son of the man that built it, that institution collapsed because primarily he didn't have the type of knowledge the predecessors had. Now, most of the CEOs that worked with the father of this particular, the owner of this company, the founder, were groomed by this man. You know how I've seen some rich men, they send their children off to big schools, but they have people who work with them every day. The people that work with them every day are observing, downloading, learning the principles and the practice of how this particular man is building an empire. They just take their children and send them to one big school abroad where they're going to learn theories. Now, wealth, creation, and wealth transfer is much more about ideology, discipline, principles, and practice than it is about theories. So, the LAPO and the LAPO, whatever the classifications are, and if you learn how to build something, you can be anything you want. Now, if your father, the first parents you have, you didn't choose them. You didn't choose the first parents, but you can choose a new parent, which is called mentors. So you've grown up to the level where whatever your parents had for you was not enough for you to deal with life. Then choose a different parent and then learn a new way of life. And then you can make up what you lacked in the past.
Wow. So you still back again to mentorship. There are some people that don't want to mentor people.
Well, mentorship is a symbiotic relationship, but first of all, more beneficial to the mentee than it is to the mentor. And mentorship is a learning-based relationship. We have value it's coming from a high place of concentration to a place of need. Now, mentors don't choose mentees. It is mentees that choose mentors because someone has to be ready to be taught before the person teaching is willing. Do you understand my point, right? So if you're not willing to be mentored, then you'll be sentenced to life of poverty forever, or you make all your mistakes in life. And sometimes mistakes can be very terrible. I mean, experience can be terrible, can be a bad teacher, because there's certain experiences you go through you may never recover. But mentorship makes you avoid unnecessary bad experiences and go straight to what is possible.
Well, what would you say about, still on mentorship, what would you say about some people that probably, I don't know how, because the style of mentorship varies. In the Bible, we saw the way Elisha and Elijah style of mentorship was. Probably still the holy book, Jesus and the disciples. And when some, is a different thing altogether. Just one thing a mentor said, and that was it. The person wasn't available to guide through. So some people are very busy, so they don't have that time to tell you, okay, so how much did you make today? Where did you go today? And the mentee expects this person to go through this way. So how can you balance that? Because you say you choose mentor. Many people have come to people and said, please, I want you to mentor me. You are my this. And the person look at them and like, yeah, I'm not into this.
Yes. So first of all, there are three types of mentorship relationship. There's subject matter expert mentors. Someone who is very successful in a particular area and you want to understand how to build anything in that area. That's subject matter. Okay, so if you want to get into kind of building a company or you want to create wealth, okay, this is the area that my expertise is around, right? And then there are general mentors who give you guidance on life generally. Most pastors fall into that. They are not subject matter expert mentors in terms of maybe creating wealth. And then we have corporate mentorship where it is more in the workplace. Okay, it's important to understand these dimensions in terms of engaging in mentorship. Okay, and in mentorship, you have to choose someone you believe in before you start, because you don't argue with mentors. Most mentors in mentorship is much more about the dream of the mentee than it is about the dream of the mentor. A mentor does not supplant his own dream to to overshadow yours. He guides you for your success. His own pleasure is in your success, right? Now, mentorship as well, a mentor does not give you suggestion, he gives you instruction because he's coming from a place of certainty about what works, right? So it's not someone that you want to argue with, it's someone you want to listen to. It's different from when you're having coaching and tutors who are different. When someone is tutoring you, you can question a lot of things because it's more like a learning process. But mentorship is a transfer of beliefs, transfer of ideology. You get my point?
Yeah.
Now, mentorship as well is much more than skill set. A mentor is not so much someone that transfers skills to you, to teach you how to do a particular thing. He focuses more on ideological framework. That's what mentorship is about. I'll give you an example. If you come into the Igbo apprenticeship stuff, you see they call those things mentors. They are not mentors. Most of them are masters. In this context, the apprentice is coming to learn craft of a particular trade. So he comes there, he stays in that office, on that shop, and learns from that master on that particular trade. He doesn't have a type of relationship with the master on the world view about how the master thinks. It's just about the trade. And those things are not the fullness of what mentorship is. A mentor is someone that focuses more on the ideology of how to build something. That you can actually leave a mentor and build something different from what is built in a different business. But the ideological framework that guides you in life is what he transfers to you. So most of the times people misconstrue the concept of mentorship, coaching. Example, a coach does not have to see you every day. A mentor pretty much have to see you on a more continuous basis because it's about life transformation. A coach is more about performance. A coach is more about a particular result you need to get in a particular area. And what he does is when someone is a mentor, you're possibly an amateur in life. You want a life guidance in a particular context that you want. A coach can only coach someone who's already have mastery in something. And then he broadens your perspective of what is possible. I give an example of coaching with football.
Yeah.
A coach does not play in the field with you. He trains you and you go in the field. Now, you can change coaches because they are not in the field. They don't compete with you in terms of mastery of the particular act, right? But he's outside the field guiding you, showing you angles, showing you loopholes, and broadening your perspective about what is possible in that particular field. Once you get that result, it's gone. But mentors stay in your life for a longer time. Mentorship is more like a father who guides you philosophically to help you succeed in whatever you choose to do. So when you choose a particular area of life you want to go and become powerful, a coach can come and help you in that field. But your mentor's philosophy guides you beyond that particular field.
Wow, this is brilliant. I never saw it this way because I think we've been mixing the two over the years. But right now, I think you really simplified, and everybody listening, there's a difference between a coach and a mentor.
$1 million that I have given to someone who was coming up. The guy groomed me, followed me, stayed around me, made sure that I had his
trust.
Yes, trust. And then when I gave this guy this money, this guy disappeared. And so it taught me a lot of lessons. People question people's ideologies more than you question their ethics. Ethics can be acted upon. People can pretend to be what they are not for so long. But ideologies is difficult to change.
Maybe you tell us both. What is ideology? What is in this context?
Ideology has to do with their philosophy of life. Most criminals are disciplined. They have good ethics. They observe, they stick to the rules of engagement. Most people that are evil are very ethical. They follow certain tenets consistently, right? But there are people who are good as well on the good side of life. They are very ethical, right? So the difference now is ideological framework, the belief system that you have. So when someone has a fraudulent ideology, he can be ethical in following you up, incompetence in doing the right thing that's wisdom, but he's waiting for an opportune time to strike. And I like when I'm teaching concept about how to attract high-value persons. High-value people, most of them have been duped many times because when they are driven by competence, they want to make sure that anybody coming around them is valuable. So competence can be something that can make most high-value people to let their guards down. Most of them had been burnt because you're so competent, so committed to what you're doing, and then one event happened, they're duped. So when you come to a high-value person with high level of competence, most of them also look at you with a pinch of salt because they want to know your character. They want to know your philosophy. Now, I can tell you this for free. Most people who are high-value people, very successful a long time, they would prefer someone with a good ideology and good character than the person that is competent without good character. They can hire a competent person under the supervision of someone with good ideological framework of thought. Okay, so this is so that one was where the second time this person did this to me was something that really taught me a lot of lessons. But if I wasn't the type of person that built from value, that particular event would have shaken me so much.
Wow, sorry about that,
Yes.
sir. You've grown between, like I said, we've known for like 10 years. This is the very first time we're really sitting to talk in
Right.
10 years. And 10 years is a lot of years to groom a lot of people. 10 years, I can remember telling you about, oh, there's this person that introduced me, and you ask, is he doing well? Does it worry you that so many people that you've taught about with wealth, I don't know whether they found fulfillment? Because when you ask, is he doing well? It's a lot of things. It could be financially. It could be fulfillment. It was a very broad question based on your own school of thought, because I'm thinking differently now. But me before now, if you say, is he doing well? I will ask myself, has he bought a Rolls Royce? Has he owned his own properties around the world and all that? So looking back, because some of them are no more coming for your trainings, you can't take that away. When they see your billboards and they see, we've been there now. How will you say the past 10 years of you training these people has been? Is it that you look back and you feel, oh, yeah, a few of them made it, but a lot of them have not made it?
Well, first of all, let's look at it in the context of Africa, right? When I came back from the US and I found that every book you needed to read to be successful, you can find it on that bridge in Ojolegba. Every book you needed to read to be successful is already here. Why are people not successful the way they should? Where there are 200 and something million people, over close to 80 to 90% are not doing well. Now, it's a cultural context. The culture upon which people are coming from determines how they take what they see. Now, we don't have a culture that promotes education as a way of life. Most of the education that we are getting is because of academics and because we want to travel outside the country. So, and when I say that, people are like, are you serious? I say, listen, go back to the villages that we come from. Check what our ancestors are doing. If education is part of our culture, even in our villages, we'll develop new inventions, new strategies that is happening based on our authentic self. We don't necessarily have to travel because the human mind is present and the universe is present. So when you travel from here to the United States, you've not moved the earth to the United States. It's still earth, right? So there is a cultural shift that is happening, that's supposed to happen before we can increase the number of people who are successful. As far as we are pro hustle, Yahoo, as far as people are trying to make a living by their mundane activities, there's so much we could do. But I'm happy that somewhere around 10, 15 years ago, I started this revolution where I am saying wealth creation taps into your God nature. Wealth creation taps into the gift of God in your life, but you have to study on how to make this gift become useful and serviceable to other people. That type of education does not go well in this country, in this part of the world. People want quick results. So far, some of the people who are part of my life have changed. I mean, like when Jesus came on earth, how many people did he change? It was first of all 12. Then
So you have only 12 people you've changed in 10 years?
No. Let me give you the right metrics.
Yeah.
let's look at this context. Some people have changed. So many people have done well for themselves, but it's not enough for me. If we take it from the context of the scripture, how many men did God make in the Garden of Eden? One.
Okay.
By that one man, sin came to the world. How many men did it take God to change the state of man? One. If you get one person who gets this ideology, I think I've changed the world. It's not the number of people, so to say. It's the quality of the number of people you've changed and what they're doing. There's some of my proteges who are building massive organizations. Like I'm traveling to Qatar on the 27th of July. It's my student 15 years ago who's built a global business school. He owns over 50% of that company. All the faculty members in that particular business school are Americans, British, Canadians, all white, but he's the owner of the business. So he said, Mentor, he came to my house in Abuja and said, Mentor, I have not thanked you enough. I want you to come and see what your son has done. So I'm flying to Qatar on the 27th to go and see what he's done. He's not supposed to be in that meeting, but it's Mentor because nobody even knows he's the owner of the company.
Wow.
Now, this program is happening in Qatar and it happens every quarter. Global world-class business school owned by a Nigerian, living in Nigerian, but all his students are outside the country in the world. And he literally picked those vibrations from my sessions continuously. Okay, there's so many of them. If I start naming them, they're all over. I have a guy in South Africa right now. He has a multinational. He's in his 30s, right? He's been with me for a couple of years, and I'm going to be in South Africa again in September the 24th. I was there a couple of months ago, and it's incredible what people are.
Don't worry. I'm sure I'm just trying to, you're doing so well.
Yeah.
You're doing amazingly well.
Yes, I know.
And I'm so proud of you. There are few of you so far that I know in this part of the continent. I don't know so much in the US. Maybe I should start asking questions, but this ideology will thrive. It will take time. 10 years, it can be like 10 days in Nigeria economy. But even at that, it's not cheap paying for your session.
I think it's the cheapest compared to the value that people are going to get.
Okay.
Cost is relative.
Okay.
To what there's price does not equal value. That something is expensive doesn't mean it's valuable. Sometimes it's a projection of value, right? Now, if I give you a key to a Mercedes, and he didn't pay for it, it doesn't take away the value of the Mercedes. But that Mercedes has its own value, okay? So most of the times, if you compare a value of a thing to your finances, it might be expensive. If you compare the value of a thing of what you could potentially become, you find out that the price paid is not commensurate to the value that you're getting. Yes, it depends on who is paying, yeah.
Nice. So thank you so much. We've delved into a lot of things, and this will not be our end. And I'm proud of who you've become over the past 10 years, because it's been a journey. When you came back from the US, it looks like is it going to get through? But 10 years is a lot of trophies, sir. I wish we have plaques to give here. I'm giving you one.
Right.
And also, what do you do for your recreation? What do you do? Do you, I don't know, so much I can ask. This, what do you watch movies?
I mean,
because you can't be reading. You can't be talking. What do you do?
Well,
do you love football? Do you have a club to support?
Well, I belong to the winning team. Whichever club is winning as well.
So even if is winning.
Yes, that's when I most of the time when I watch football is for entertainment. Yeah. I'm not fanatical about any particular team, but each time there's a World Cup or the European League Championship, I'm always on top of it. But when I start watching, whoever is winning at the time
is your team.
Is always my team.
Okay, so Chelsea just won. So
that's my team right there. Up Chelsea.
Welcome. Thank you.
And then how I chill, I listen to a lot of jazz music. Okay. I love good food. I love well cuisine. I love that. I love traveling. Okay. I love traveling. I love being in nature. Okay. I love chats, have deep conversation. Okay.
Sir, thank you so much.
You're
From the
welcome.
depth of our heart, we're so honored. My team and crew, all of them here are just nodding their heads. You're
Right.
such a blessing to this
Thank you.
generation.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch. Like I told you earlier, my team will be humble enough to support each other,
Right.
which is let's spread this ideology
Okay.
till we get the result we desire.
Right.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you, guys.
People, thank you. We will be hopeful that you're going to subscribe, share this with your family till we meet again. Thank you. God bless you.